Hey, it's Big V. We're talking teams. That's right. Verl Workman here. We're talking about how to solve communication problems in your team. Wait, I have communication problems? Like, do you really recognize when you have a communication problem? I would say that most of your problems are directly related or indirectly related to too much or not enough communication. So how do we create an environment where communication as a dysfunction no longer exists? The first is to recognize I have a problem. If you don't recognize we have a communication problem, you'll never actually address it. So is that okay? Let's just have an out loud coming out of saying the words, I have a communication problem. Can you say that out loud? Do it with me. I have a communication problem. How does that feel? That's got to feel good just to recognize and realize and say it out loud that we have a communication issue. Now we have a communication issue, let's go ahead and solve it. In one of my favorite books, The Oz Principle, it talks about how do we move from below the line to above the line when we have issues in our business and in our communication. Below the line activities are phrases like, it's not my fault. It's not my problem. Somebody else should have communicated better. I wish we would have a system for that. Why didn't anybody tell me? I thought I told someone, but I really didn't. When you behave below the line, it talks about looking for and placing blame on everybody but yourself to move your communication problems from below the line to above the line. So how do we get there? If you want to move to above the line where people have excellence instead of below the line where failure and misery lives, you have to follow the steps as outlined in the Oz Principle. Number one, you have to see that there's a problem. Hey, there's a problem. We have a communication problem. The second problem is you have to own it. Whose problem is it? Are you the leader? It's your problem. Are you a team member? It's your problem. If you look for other people to blame for the problem, you'll never address it in a way that it can be solved. So first of all, you got to see it. We have a problem. It's communication. I know you have one. You said it out loud. The second thing is you got to own it. Whose problem is it? Say this, my problem. Whose problem is it? My problem. I own it. I see it. I own it. It's mine. Now, how are you going to solve it? What are the steps you're going to take to solve the communication problem? Let's make a list. Once we make the list, you ready for the next step? And this is the final step to go from below the line to above the line. You just have to do it. See it, own it, solve it, do it. When your communication issue creates environment where your team is functioning below the line, you have stress, you have people that are upset, you have high turnover, and you have a workplace that becomes toxic. Below the line environments and toxic environments are highly dysfunctional and nobody wants to work there, including you. So let's own it. And let's move our conversations and our communication above the line. I'd like to give you a few steps or a few critical things that you could do to focus on being a better communicator. Number one, recognize the problem. Number two, own the problem. Number three, create the solution. And number four, do it. Here are some of the solutions. Number one, create an environment where communication is encouraged. Open communication. When you ask for feedback, actually listen and then make course corrections as necessary. Asking for feedback and then not listening to the feedback says that I want to be a communicator, but I'm not really that interested. Ask better questions. If something didn't work the way that it should, or someone's not performing at a level you believe they could, instead of attacking the person, let's find out the why behind it. Our people get up every day and they want to be successful and they want to have wins. And if we're not having wins in communication, let's just ask better questions. What could we have done differently to close the communication loop? What could we have done differently to make sure there's not two people working on the same task? How could I have described what I wanted in a little bit more clarity so that I got what I actually asked for? Those key questions and asking them deeper will show your team that you're interested in eliminating the communication issues on your team. The next thing we do is we do blue sky time, and this is kind of a fun thing we do in our team meetings. Blue sky time is the ability for our employees and our team members to just say something out of the blue that they would love. It became really clear to us in blue sky time one day that our clients wanted more time on Fridays when their kids were out of school to be able to be parents and to go on vacations and to do things. They were willing willing to work more during the week so they could have a little bit longer weekends. They wanted to do the effort and they threw it out as a blue sky idea. We listened to the idea and we put a test in place, and we found that everybody was able to get their work done and they were able to have a better lifestyle. I love the idea of blue sky time. Somebody else suggested we just buy Lamborghinis for everybody. Just because we gave them the idea doesn't mean we're going to do it. So that one's not going to happen if you're a Workman success person watching this video. But the Fridays off made a big difference, or the optional Fridays off if you have all of your tasks completed for the week. The next thing is the active listening. You've heard it said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, that we should listen twice as much as we speak. I would say that if you listen to truly understand what's being said, instead of listening to respond to what they're saying, you'll understand the message. Think about it. Listen to understand, not to respond. Boy, how do you think that would work in your marriage if you truly listen to understand instead of listening to respond? My wife will say to me things like, I don't need you to solve it, I just need you to hear me. You know why? Because I'm not listening to understand. I'm a problem solver. Give me the problem, I'll solve it. And what I've learned after all these years of happy marriage is she doesn't need me to solve the problems. Sometimes you just need to articulate the problem and you solve it as you're working through it. I've actually learned that if I really listen, she'll solve the problem better than I would. So listen to understand instead of listening to respond. The next is close the feedback loop. Oftentimes, when we have problems in communication, it's because we haven't asked for feedback. We've given an assignment, they've gone and done a good job with it, but they didn't tell us it was done. So we've gone through the assumption that something isn't completed or done, so we ask somebody else to do the same job. And now the first employee or the first team member feels like you didn't trust them. And the problem wasn't that you didn't trust them, it's that the communication gap wasn't closed. So make sure that you're creating an environment where people share with you that things are actually done and done correctly. Close the communication gap. Next is practice listening skills. You know, it's interesting, when you do activities as a team, you'll find that people hear and see things differently, that we all see things through a different lens. So when you do activities or you role play different types of listening games and activities, you start to understand why it's so important that you articulate a message in a way that makes the person receiving it most likely to understand so that they can deliver on the communication promise. Communication is not something you just wake up and say, I'm a better communicator. A lot of people think just because they talk a lot, it means they communicate a lot. Oftentimes the people saying the most have the least to say. Best communicators oftentimes are the best listeners. In creating an environment where communication builds trust, I'm going to encourage you to have open and consistent meetings. One of the big challenges leaders face in communication is they don't hold meetings consistently. They have a daily huddle where for 15 minutes they can talk to their key reports and they can close those feedback loops. They can ask for questions and clarifications on things that they're not sure on how to accomplish. The next thing we should do is just take good notes. Make sure that you remember what the tasks were in communication so that you don't have lack of clarity when the assignments or the communication comes back different from what you thought. Solving communication on your team and communication problems is a lifelong journey. At every level of growth, at every level of leadership, you're going to find a new set of communication challenges. The reality is communication issues don't go away, but you get better at creating clarity. And clarity creates success. Set your people up for success by creating communication channels. Be open to listening and practice the activities that you struggle with the most. And you'll be well on your way to eliminate communication dysfunctions on your team.